America. Today's summer segment, Breaking Books, is going to give you a taste of British literature without having to read a page. Please join me in welcoming our first guest, George Orwell. Mr. Orwell wrote the iconic novel Animal Farm during the height of World War II, and ever since it's been a Brit lit favorite. Please help me welcome Mr. Orwell.
Thanks, Alex. Happy to be here.
So, George, our studio audience is wondering if you could give them a brief summary of your novel, Animal Farm.
Sure. Well, Animal Farm is about a group of animals that takes over the farm from the humans that had previously been in charge of the farm.
Okay. Wow, that was very insightful. Based on your description, the main characters are...
Well, first we have Old Major, who is the pig who incites the beginning of the revolution. Then we have Snowball and Napoleon, who are the two pigs who are in charge of the entire revolution and the government after the revolution, after the animals have taken over. And those three are really the three main characters in the book.
Okay. And what symbols should our readers be on the lookout for while reading your book?
Well, the pigs represent the government, or the upper class citizens. And the rest of the animals, the horses, the cows, the chickens, they represent the working class, who are governed and under the strict rule of the pigs.
Okay. And finally, George, what was your goal in writing this book?
Well, this revolution was designed to represent the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia. And really the message that one can take out of it is how much that brutally strict government regulations and control over the citizens can really have detrimental effects on a previously thriving community.
Wow. Wow. So we are out of time, George, but thank you for being here today. And you can pick up a copy of Animal Farm in your local bookstore. We're going to take a quick studio break, and we will be back with Mark Haddon and the book, The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. Thank you, George.
Thanks, Alex. Always a pleasure.
And we are back with our summer series, Breaking Books. I'd now like to welcome author Mark Haddon. He's the author of the very popular book, The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime.
Thank you, Miss Jennings. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, it's great to see you again, Mark. So, could you tell us, what is your book about?
Oh, yes, I can. My book, The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, is an iconic tale about how a boy, diagnosed with Asperger's, struggles to find the murderer of his neighbor's dog.
Wow. So, what are the symbols that your book touches on?
My book is filled with symbols. One of the most noticeable symbols is obviously the murder of the dog.
Oh, Wellington?
Yes, Wellington. You see, I believe that the murder of the dog is really a symbol for Chris's struggle to learn the truth about his family.
Wow. So what were you trying to accomplish with this book?
With this book, I was really trying to set forth a lot of my own ideas about struggles about growing up into a popular book. One of these struggles is present with the theme of independence. And this is shown how Chris is maturing in the book, and he wants to rebel against his parents, but he wants independence, but at the same time, he's not really mentally able to set off on his own, and therefore his parents try to reel him in. Another major theme in the book is, of course, the act of learning about the truth. And this is present with the struggle to learn about the murder of the dog, as well as family in general.
Wow. Thank you, Mark. Well, we hope you enjoyed writing that book. We would now like to invite Miss Mary Shelley out to talk about her brand new novel, Frankenstein. And now, Mary Shelley. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Alex. Nice to see you.
It's great to see you, too. You've risen from the dead to be here with us today. We're really appreciative of that. So, your novel, Frankenstein, is a classic, and many of us have heard the story, we hear it around Halloween, we're familiar with it. But could you give us an accurate account of what you wrote?
Yes. Well, the main character, Victor, he intended to create a human, but instead he ended up creating a monster. and since the monster was not what he wanted to make, he ended up trying to abandon it, and in response, the monster got hurt, and he tried to terrorize the city and ruin Victor's life.
Wow. So the main characters are Victor and the monster.
Yeah.
So those are what the story is focused around. Okay. What symbols do you believe are the most important throughout the story?
Well, I believe that light and fire are big symbols throughout the book, and they kind of go hand in hand. Light is usually assumed to be something good, but in this book, light actually creates the monster, and the monster ends up being something not very good. So we see that light isn't actually always good. And fire is usually something that is also like light, where it's it brightens everything. And in the end, Frankenstein actually burns down someone's house with fire. So we see that fire is also something that's negative.
Wow. And what is the message behind the book?
Well, the message is, we see that Victor can create Frankenstein, and he didn't expect to create this monster. And so we actually can do things that we would never expect to be able to do. But I think that we need to see the repercussions of what we actually are able to accomplish.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Mary. Thank you for being here with us today. We know it was very difficult for you, but we're glad that our studio audience was able to learn a little bit more about Frankenstein.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Finally, we'd like to welcome our last guest, Agatha Christie, the author of And Then There Were None.
Yo, man, what up?
Wow, Agatha, you look wonderful.
Actually, yo, I legally changed my name. Now it's Swagatha Christie.
Wow, okay. So we've gotten a lot of interest from our studio audience in your book. It was actually the fan favorite of the week, and based on your new look, I can understand why.
Rad, man.
Can you give us a quick summary?
Sure, dude. So, there are these 8 people, yo, and they're invited over to this island, and they don't know who by. And then suddenly they start getting killed off one by one, and it's like, yo, who's killing us, man? And so they're trying to find the identity of the killer.
Wow. So you mentioned 8 people. That's a lot. Who do you consider to be the main characters, the ones that we should really watch out for?
Well, some of the characters die really early on, so it's you don't really get to know them. Mm-hmm. So some of the characters that you want to look out for are Judge Wargrave and Vera and Tony Bloor.
And I believe Dr. Armstrong is on the list as well.
Dr. Armstrong, thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime, dude. So there seems like there's a lot going on in the book, but what symbols come up a lot?
Well, so as they're getting killed, there are these little Indian figures, and they start out with 10 for 10 people on the island, and then each time someone gets killed, one of the figurines gets smashed. So it's they're being toyed with, and they don't have control over their own destiny.
Wow. And finally, what were you trying to accomplish with this book? What is the message behind it?
Well, the first thing I wanted to do was to get rich, and obviously, it worked.
Okay.
But the message I wanted to get out there was that, it's this idea of the vigilante system, and how these people were invited to the island to be killed because they'd committed crimes but weren't prosecuted. So the reader can question whether being a vigilante is justified or not.
Oh. It's a lot to take in.
Totally, dude.
Thank you, Agatha, and congratulations on being named one of People Magazine's most beautiful women of the year.
Oh, thanks, man. It was nothing.
We would like to thank all of our authors for being here with us today. We hope that you enjoyed our first week of the summer segment, Breaking Books, inspired by British literature throughout the ages. We'll see you back here tomorrow with our special on the history of baldness, starring male supermodel Steve Lavelle. This is Alex Genovese saying, have a great day, America.